Patch McCain. Look at I Patch McCain right here. You're a rhino. You're a globalist. You're a globalist rhino. You're a globalist rhino. Kid, you're a globalist rhino. I Patch McCain. I Patch McCain. I Patch McCain. You're a globalist rhino. You're a globalist rhino.
So that was Representative Dan Crenshaw being accosted this weekend by a right wing. I guess he would probably say activist, but honestly, at this point, what's the difference between a conservative activist, a member of Congress, a figure in the media? They all do and say the exact same thing, but it was a crazy person who accosted him. And he had this one opportunity on film to really stick it to Dan Crenshaw. And so he just repeated over and over again, I Patch McCain and globalist rhino. Over and over. That was all he had. I guess he hadn't prepped much. I don't know. Bear in mind the I Patch McCain. That is a term for Crenshaw that was coined by Tucker Carlson after he decided that it was okay to mock the fact that Dan Crenshaw wears an eye patch. Back before he decided, Tucker Carlson, that he wanted to attack him, he attacked Pete Davidson for making a joke about the eye patch. That was unacceptable, but when Tucker Carlson himself wanted to do it and get that to be a thing that the right does now, that's perfectly acceptable. But Francesca, this is the site of, the Republicans were gathering in Texas there, and this is the sort of person who I guess comes to those events to just harass and accost and get a little bit physical. Let's keep it real with the congressman and his entourage.
Yeah, I mean, he had a camera, so definitely member of the media. As we now we're now all members of the media with our camera phones. No, I think it's really important that the person who coined that phrase, I Patch McCain, is not someone from the left. The person he got mad at was a comedian, so let's put that aside for initially calling out his eye patch. But generally, when it comes to Greg Abbott in a wheelchair, well, that is not a line of attack. Number one, because we're not ableist, and number two, because there's a million other reasons to attack people like Dan Crenshaw and Governor Greg Abbott. Like this is what we do. We generally try to rise above and focus on issues. And of course, it is really, really wrong to make fun of someone's disability. But if it's Tucker Carlson, well, then it's all gravy. And as long as he can still have Dan on his show occasionally, and Crenshaw doesn't want to call that out. This was probably just a one-time thing. And I think you're gonna see, instead of, if this were someone from the left, he'd freak out about it, tweet about it, go insane about it, go ape about it. But no. Yeah. Let's just pretend it never happened.
So he is going to criticize the guy. He doesn't specifically talk about that line of attack. He doesn't actually address either of them, smearing him as a globalist rhino. I mean, you like, if you know about the right, you know what he's going at there, I guess. Look, Dan Crenshaw again has plenty of things that you can attack him for based on policy, or even if you didn't want to dive into the policy, the fact that this guy regularly films like fake action movies of himself, that's a perfectly good shallow reason to attack him. But anyway, his entourage, or a witness, I should say, of what you just saw says that they got physical, hitting them with cameras. His campaign manager was assaulted by being pushed aggressively into a pillar. And you can see that some of the people who were ejected from the event were wearing Proud Boys gear. So just a little heads up that I don't know exactly which historical comparison you want to make for the Proud Boys of what position they'll have in this fascist movement in comparison to what other armed groups did in past fascist movements. But apparently they will not only be trying to assault members of the LGBTQ plus community or Antifa or Democrats, they're also going to be going for Republicans that aren't sufficiently awful. Now, as I said, Dan Crenshaw did respond to this, tweeting, this is what happens when angry little boys, like, I don't even want to say the guy's name, it's the dude who accosted him, don't grow up and can't get girlfriends, Shruggy. I don't know if the guy has a girlfriend or not. I know that the incel movement is a burgeoning part of the right, but now that guy responded by saying he's the real victim of Dan Crenshaw's private police force. So I guess Dan Crenshaw is an authoritarian with his own jackbooted thugs. I don't know. The whole thing is nonsense. Literally, just like on the right, can you just have a single actual policy? something that actually acknowledges the economic crisis that America is undergoing. I don't know. It's all nonsense, Francesca.
But refresh our memory. What was the transgression, right? What did Dan Crenshaw do? Did he try to say one person, one vote? Did he like semi-uphold democracy? No. Did he, like what was it? Did he criticize Trump in any minor way?
Yeah, no, I do think that he's been a little bit more critical of Trump, like not like, Trump is singularly responsible for January 6th, but I think he's been a little bit more critical. And I think he's also been willing to criticize the new insane like cohort in congressional Republicans. He's been a little bit more critical of the Boeberts and the Marjorie Greens and all that, which is to his credit. It's the only thing that's to his credit, but that is to his credit. And so why wouldn't he be attacked for that?
I was crazy before they were crazy.
Exactly. I prefer my brand of crazy to this day. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.